It took me 7 years to get into PT school. Before that, I worked in the movie industry for about 20 years. I wanted a better life for my family. My dad was a PT for 50 years, kind of in my blood. As an aging athlete, I knew what it was like to feel pain and not be able to kind of keep doing what you like to do. So I loved helping people kind of get back on track. It took me 7 years because I originally have an art degree, and art degree doesn't cover a lot of your prereqs. So I had to do a couple of years of prereqs, and then it took me a couple of years to get into school. Worked for Center for Neuro Skills with patients that had TBIs as an aide. Incredible there. I finally got into CSUN and USC and USC hybrid. Decided to do USC hybrid because I could still be around my family. I have an eight-year-old boy and a 6-year-old boy, so I wanted to be able to be around them. And I crushed practicals. Practical exams that was my bread and butter. I did pretty good on the regular tests. I'm a big time second guesser, and that's always been and I take tests way too fast. So those are two things I really had to work on.
Solid. So talk to us about this whole NPTE journey. What happened after you graduated and all of that?
Well, I was hungry for a job, so I ended up finding one right away. Got a PTLA status, and things are rolling along. I was taking a course. I won't say the name because I don't want to throw any shade, but they say it starts with an S. And it basically wanted me to relearn all 3 years of PT school in 3 months, just like you'd said. I mean, we're going down to the ligaments of the spine that they don't ever talk about in the exams. Thought I was ready the first time. I was working my PTLA about 20 hours a week, took the exam, and I was like, I do not know what is being asked here. I don't know these questions. I don't know anything. That's what I felt like. I really felt like I didn't know anything. I really felt like I was just trying to push through the questions, and I just going back and second guessing and marking this and going over, and it was a nightmare. So I kept working the week from getting my results until I got my results. I got my results Wednesday afternoon. Right after I got them, I was told I was terminated from my position because I couldn't do that. I had 2 more patients that afternoon, but I couldn't work with them anymore, and they sent me home. Went home to try and document for my patients that morning. They'd already locked me out. Got a phone call saying I need to bring my computer in the next day, sign a termination letter, and receive my last paycheck. So not only are you down, but now it's just like you've just been like really pushed down. I'm not a super emotional guy, but that was hard. My wife stayed home from work that day just to take me there because I was a mess. I really doubted my ability to be a PT. I doubted my ability to pass the NPTE. I had a lot of doubt. I had a lot of doubt at that time.
Okay, so continue down your journey. So that was your first attempt that you failed. Did you take the exam again? Where are we at?
No, I didn't take it again. I just kind of spent the next few days just trying to like pull myself back together again and just kind of trying to figure out like if this is really what I wanted to do. I'd been listening to your podcast for quite a while and had seen some of your cheat sheets. And so I just kind of started looking a little more into it. And I was like, if I don't ever want to have to take this thing again. I want to take it one more time because I knew that I wasn't going to give up on PT school. First of all, it's what I want to do. And second of all, I went to USC. My student loans they're embarrassingly high. So I needed to find like a way to pay for that. And so I looked at your program and, it costs a pretty penny, but I thought, I don't want to go through this at all again. I want to do it this time, get set up right and just get it done. Because I thought like, maybe I'll go back over that old program and just do it again. And I thought, well, it was useless. It was useless. There was nothing that I didn't learn anything that actually really helped me for the NPT. Well, I probably did. There's so much information that be like, learn about all this. Oh, and multiple sclerosis. Oh, and here's all this other information. And here is ALS. But it was like the things I needed to know were almost whispered about, as opposed to like, you don't know about that. Go learn about that. And so when I was looking in the PT Hustle, it seemed like that's what it was talking about is if you don't know about it, let's figure out how you can learn about it so you know about it when you go back in again. I don't ever want to feel this pain again. I don't ever want to hit that screen, see it flip over and say failed again. I didn't ever want to have that feeling ever again in my life. But I also I didn't want to keep trying, then you hear like there's 6 tries and I'm like, I don't want to get the sixth try and be like, I should have done this a year and a half ago. There's a big thing where people are always concerned about money, but then sometimes we're sacrificing our time for money, and that's not a good thing. My wife says, why do we hire gardeners? Well, we haven't since I've been working, but we've always had gardeners before. But I'm like, because that takes time away on Saturday for me to be with the kids. And whatever I pay, it's like, I can't get that time back. I'll get that money back sometime. Let me pass this NPTE the first time. Let me knock it out the park, then get a job and worry about the money then. Because then I can take care of it. Otherwise, I'm just worrying about the money and praying that I pass it again. And I'm missing all that time. I could be doing other things.
What were some game changers that you learned inside the program that really made the difference for you? What was that?
Second guessing is a huge one. That was a big problem of mine. Is a big second guesser. Reading through the problem, reading through the question, pausing in the question, looking for breadcrumbs. They're not trying to trick you. They're trying to give you the answer in the question. So really looking at the question, saying like, they're not trying to throw you off. I mean, that'd be some like extraneous information, but all of that stuff is important. So like looking for those little things in there. One of the biggest things that actually came to me was after we took the NPTE, you said, I want you to write down everything that went well leading up to the NPTE and make a list out as long as you can. And then I want you to make a list of everything that went right during the NPTE and then read those like 2 times a day. And that helped with my anxiety. And that's actually something that I've taken to other things in my life, things where I'm worrying about something and I think, okay, think about all the things that went right even to that point, or what went right after that point, everything surrounding it that went right. And that anxiety just started to drop. Those are really big things. I mean, besides all of the knowledge I gained, and that was like looking at the exams, your practice exams, where did you go wrong? What do you not know about? Go learn about that. What are you missing? Why are you second guessing still? Good. Let's do 5 days, 10 questions, and not second guess. And I'll tell you what, my scores are great because I wasn't overthinking. I wasn't trying to second guess. And all of that stuff just really helped. I know it helped improve my score. It helped decrease my anxiety. It helped increase my confidence. And if I didn't know the question, who cares? Like I would read through it a few times. Or I remember one on the exam where I was like, this is one Coach K would tell me, just pick an answer and move on. I was like, boom, there Coach K's with me. Moved on to the next one, didn't think twice about it.
Let's go. And did you need it? Hell no. We still
Nope.
made it through. I love it. I love it. But what I started to see a lot now, week after week, was you posting up not necessarily things about second guessing, but you started posting up a lot of things about your family life that was starting to change. And it was really interesting because I started to see more of that now, how it was like just a sense of peace that you were having now. Even taking a big peat the next day, it was a sense of peace. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I felt like all of this was getting under control. And I felt like I could be with my family again. And I think the night you're talking about was the first time I took the Pete. It was a Taco Tuesday. I was taking the exam on Wednesday. So Taco Tuesday, I was making tacos with my 6-year-old kid. My wife was making brownies with my 9 or 8-year-old son. And we just had a music playing. Everyone was laughing and joking around. And I didn't care. I didn't care how I did on the next day on the Pete. I don't know. There was just so much love and happiness. It was like, whatever I do tomorrow is what I do. And so the next day, I mean, I did great on the Pete. And then it's just, I feel like the stress and anxiety took me away from my family so much. And not because I wasn't there for them, but I don't think I was always there for them, if that makes sense. Like, I think there's always a part of me stressing out. And it was like, I was going through this program and learning the things I didn't know and learning test taking strategies, that all of that started to kind of go away because I needed to hold on to it all the time. It's like I could do that during the day. But when 5 to 9 o'clock, I'm dad. I was with my kids. And at 9 o'clock, I was back to studying. Get up at 6 a.m., I'm dad till 8, then I'm studying again. But when I was dad, I could just be dad again. And that was an incredible thing for me to be able to get that back in my life.
Days leading up to this exam, and then give us the story. Like, what happened with the exam?
Leading up to the exam, I definitely kind of went up and down with anxiety and nervousness and stress, but that's something I could deal with. I fought MMA for 7 years, so I know like leading up to the big event, those nerves that's just a natural thing. It just means you care. And so I knew that I cared about it. And then the night before, and leading up to the exam, I did what you talked about was the mental imaging. I thought about it from the moment. I thought about making the tacos. I thought about everything, about when I was going to sleep, what cartoon movie me and my kids are going to watch, how I was going to get in the morning. And I tell you, that night before I was making those tacos, and I was at peace because I had done it so many times in my head. It was like I'd been here before. I'd been here so many times. We watched the movie we were talking about. I read to my kids before they went to bed. I went to bed. I woke up the next morning. I won't say there wasn't any anxiety, but I felt like I'd gone through all of it before. I drove there and I had my playlist ready, and I was playing it in the car when I was sitting there, coaching myself up, getting ready to go. And I felt more and more like ready to just go. I just want to get there and get this thing dominated. I mean, I was ready. Started out. I did the tutorial, and I didn't like, because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to actually highlight on the actual exam itself. Kind of gotten some mixed reviews, and yes, you actually can highlight on the exam itself, and it stays there. So I took my time with that. Uh, First section, I took every 10 questions, took like a little, like, make sure you're still here. Every 25 questions, like, hey, you're killing it. Kind of coached myself up. First 50 questions went pretty smooth. Somewhere in the beginning of the second section, all our computers froze in our room. They all froze. Everything stopped. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to take this as a break. I did take a break between like the first 50 and the next 50, like you talked about. I'm way ahead on time at that point anyway, so I just took a break. But I thought, I'm going to take another mini break and just put my head down. I just relaxed. I did some deep breathing, coached myself up. When the screen came back on, I was ready to go. Kind of started going through there. Somewhere towards the end of that 100 questions, I kind of started to doubt myself. I felt that like old anxiety creeping in, like, you really can't do this. There's too many questions. You probably missed too many already. And I just stopped. I stopped cold, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna coach myself up right now. No, you can't do this. No, I just, like, it's time to dominate. Today's the day to dominate. I'm ready for this thing. Let's go. And got back into it. Took my 15-minute break. Things went pretty smooth through there. I'm just trying to think here. And then somewhere at the end of my third section, I had that brain fog. I remember I had 20 questions left. I had a full-on brain fog. Like, I couldn't focus. I thought to myself, I'm just gonna finish these 20. Just gonna finish these 20. And I thought, no, I bet what Coach K would tell me to do. He'd say, get up. So I'm like, you know what? I'm well ahead on time. I got up and I took another 15-minute break. I went outside. I ate my snacks. I drank some water. I did some step ups on the stairs and just let my mind clear. And I feel like that was one of the best things I did, because I think before I would have tried to push through. And did I need those 20 questions? I don't know. But I know that I gave myself the opportunity to kind of like relax and kind of come back into myself and be present again. After the next section, the fourth section went fine. Beginning of the fifth section, I just kind of told myself, hey, you've been dominating this thing. You don't even need these next 50 questions. You're gonna smoke these next 50 questions. No problem. And I don't know if everyone's going to do that, but for me, it just kind of gave me like this really big boost of confidence to like kind of get through those next 50 questions. And I remember, like, I got through all 50 of them, and I got to the end, and I hit submit, and I said to myself, you just became a licensed PT.
Let's say you hadn't done the PT Hustle program, you hadn't got coaching, none of this like mindset stuff, second guessing. Where do you think you would be at today if you didn't have it?
I really feel that, call it a higher power, or you call it God, or whatever you want to. I think it works to help you, even if you don't think so. I look back, and the place I was working at, I don't think I was supposed to be there. I don't think I had the knowledge I was supposed to have. I mean, I'm not even talking about just being able to pass the exam. Like, I just don't think I had the knowledge to be a PT. And I'm not knocking myself for my program. I don't know. There was stuff I needed to learn still. Like, there was something saying, hey, there's some stuff you need to learn. There's so much I learned in the PT Hustle, like, lectures that I can carry on to go help my patients now, because I had to have that time. Would I have passed? Honestly, probably been a crapshoot. I think I got like a 595 the first time, but this time it wasn't a crapshoot, because when I took the exam, there were questions that I was like, well, I know this one, or I may not know this, but I know I can like work through it. I don't know. I think I probably would have pushed my family away for another 3 months. I think that I wouldn't have gained the knowledge that I have, and I don't know if I would have passed or not. I know I wouldn't have had the confidence going in there. I know I wouldn't have had the skills in the exam itself. And that's one thing I brag about the most is like the test taking strategies. Like no one taught me that. They just figure, hey, you just took 3 years of PT school. You know how to take tests. Well, sure. I know how to take a test when you say, I'm gonna ask you a question about multiple sclerosis. Cool. I'll go learn everything on multiple sclerosis. So I'm gonna ask you a question about everything you learn in PT school. Well, don't go learn everything. Go learn stuff you don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I would have passed. I don't know.
So the second part of this question is you have your opportunity right now. He is listening to you. What would you tell him?
I'd tell him it's gonna be okay. I'd tell him that I'd tell him you're gonna pass. I'm gonna tell him that there's a bigger plan for you out there than working at the place you're working at. There's just a little bit of knowledge you need to gain. And just because you got off the track a little bit doesn't mean you can't get back on there and even go to greater things afterwards. Because I believe that. I believe there's great things out there for me. And I really believe that little hiccup, that little step back in my life was to let me know that it's okay and I'm going to go do greater things and not be stuck where I was at and to have that knowledge. And I'd just give him a big hug because he wasn't doing good that day.